tutor his daughter, as well as get her pregnant. I said how Liker, however you say his name, has another subconscious in his mind. Well, guess who that subconscious is? Okay, they're having a really cute moment right now. I'm going to read the quote. I told you he was lying. Basically said, you're going to learn how to defend yourself with your powers. Refusal is not an option for you, princess. I think he's got feelings. And basically said, good morning, you guys. So I have decided I wanted to start uploading videos about books. So I am starting a new series today, and it is the Aspect of Essence series. So far I've read 3 chapters, and it's kind of just starting to, you're learning about the world, you're learning about, there's elves, and there's hierarchy of elves, and basically this one elf is sent to the human realm to tutor the princess of the human realm. She is also 3/4 elf and 1/4 human. So, but she knows nothing about the realm that the elves live in. The general sent Jesselyn, is his name, to the mortal realm to tutor his daughter, as well as get her pregnant. He doesn't want to do it. He hasn't done it. And he keeps saying that he doesn't want to do it, and he's not going to do it. I haven't figured out too much, but it seems like a lot of the elves, they don't get married like humans do. They have multiple partners. They are like, almost like, basically just constantly breeding is what it seems like to me. But so far, I'm a little confused because it's the first book of a fantasy, but that's okay. We'll get there. We'll slowly learn all the characters, learn the places, and all that fun stuff. So I will check in to let you know how far I'm getting through the book and all that fun stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so I'm currently at work right now. I am 16% of the way through, and basically what happened recently is, so the general of the elves' land had a daughter with a human or a half-breed elf, which is the queen of the mortal realm. So now they just had a dinner with the queen and the general and his daughter, and basically told her that she has to go to the realm with the elves and go into a school, an academy for soldiers to fight this war against the Wrath. We don't really know that much about it. We just know a little bit about it, of what they've given us. And yeah, so now she's like super mad, and she's like, I'm not going to I'm a princess, like now I'm gonna be some soldier or what. Alrighty, so I am at page 75, 19% of the way through, and I wanted to read this quote. So we are learning more about their powers, which are called, or the elves' powers are called essence, and their power is not like, if anybody has read the Zodiac Academy, they have powers as in like fire, water, air, and earth. Yeah, fire, water, air, and earth. Yeah. So instead of them having fire, water, air, and earth, their essence are into 8 categories. So there are 8 categories that comprise our magic: force, telepathy, illusion, mending, rending, shielding, illumination, shielding, illumination, and portaling. So that is what their powers can do. And supposedly that not everyone has all of those different things. So we still don't know what Serena, the princess of, or the main character of this book, has. So she's currently asking her tutor more about the world and more about the powers and blah 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 and all that fun stuff. So we are learning a little bit piece by piece as we're going. Good morning, you guys. I read a little bit last night. We are on chapter 15 and we are about 32% of the way through on page 130. So basically what has happened so far is Serena, which is the princess of the human realm, has now gone to the elf realm with all the elves, and she is now going to an academy for basically the military that is fighting off this curse, which is the wrath. And there's also a curse on elves have problems conceiving for the first couple hundred years of them living. And so the infirmary, or the people that are like the doctors in the elf realm, are trying to figure out why the elves can't get pregnant. And that's why they had to start breeding basically with the human realm, because the elves, the pure-blooded elves, were dying because they couldn't reproduce. But something that I don't like is, it's kind of like Harry Potter, where the people that have human parents are called mudbloods. But it's basically the same concept. Is they use as an insult it as half-breed, which is talking about like half human, half elf. And they use that as an insult a lot, and I don't know how I feel about it. But I'm hoping, like, the main character keeps saying, like, I hate that they keep saying I'm half-breed, like, they should just say I'm elf blood or elf-blooded, especially when the humans are helping the elves survive. She met the prince of the elves as well, and she has 6 powers: mending, illumination, portaling, shielding, force, and rendering. She's got 6 out of the 8 powers that you can get from Essence. I really don't like her dad. Her dad's like the general. You have to live up to my name, like you better not embarrass me, blah blah blah. Like, if you want to, because when she went to the elf realm, she said, oh, like, dad, like, can I use your last name? And it's Valand or something like that. And he's like, well, if you want to use the Valand name, then you better not embarrass me. You better not embarrass my name. We are 53% of the way through. It's picking up. I am not as confused anymore. It's starting to like make sense, and everything's kind of starting to come together. You're kind of learning with Serena, which is the main character, about this world, because she has no idea about this world. So you're kind of learning with her. So as she's learning, you're learning more about the world and learning more about their powers and about the essence and how they replenish their powers and all of that fun stuff. First off, Jason, which is, I said Jason, I think, previously, but his name is Jason. Actually, that's how you pronounce it. So Jason, which is the tutor that went to the human realm for the princess, he has this tattoo on his forehead, and the princess kept asking him about that tattoo. Well, he wouldn't say anything about it, so we had no idea what that tattoo meant. So they ended up going into more detail about what that tattoo means. So basically, he is sold out or auctioned off to the purebred elves to service them. I don't know what that means just yet, but that's kind of how in depth they went. And servicing them, I would assume, some bad things. He currently is contracted with 4 purebreds right now. And he is actually dealing with a lot of anxiety and feeling like he's out of control of his life, which I feel really sad for. So I hope eventually that he will find a way to not be with all these contracts and be able to live his life the way that he wants to. We met Leaker, Lykor, Lykor is his name, and he's part of the Wrath, and that is basically the bad guys of the elves. But as I read his chapter, I don't think they're really the bad guys. I think that just the elves and the Wrath people just don't know how to communicate. I also have a theory that I think Lykor, however you pronounce his name, is bonded with Jason, because we did have a short chapter when Jason was in the human realm, and Leaker, I'm gonna just call him Leaker. He had this pool that he felt like he had to go to it, and he opened a portal and he was in the human realm watching Jason, but he was too far away to like really see his face. I figured out why the elves are dying. The elves are dying from a curse, and it's called Druid's Curse, and the Wrath knows about it. I don't know if they caused it. I don't know. I have no idea, but supposedly that curse was supposed to end the elves, and that's why they couldn't reproduce, and that's why they had to go to the human realm and start mating with the humans. So, and then Serena actually was able to have some powers. So she was able to access her essence, and she hasn't done that yet. And so she did a little bit of rendering, and the rendering commander or rendering coach or teacher, whatever you want to call it, which Vesperin is the prince of the elves. So he is pureblood. During this class, he had his rendering powers, which are basically just shadows, and he used them and attacked everyone in the class, and basically it hurt, your muscles hurt, your body, like it's just, your entire body's in pain, everything's in pain. He did that once, and then Serena in her head kept hearing, get up, get up, get up, like you need to get up, because she was laying on the floor as of everybody else. And so she kept getting up, and she ended up getting mad enough that she ended up getting in contact with her powers. So she did use a little rendering, attacked the prince, but all she did was touch his fingers with her shadows. And she also learned how to mend Jason's wounds, because Jason had a bunch of wounds from one of his contracts that he had to go do because they called him, and when they call him, he's got to go. And Serena found him, and he was all beat up and had scars, or not scars, bruises, cuts, and all of that stuff. And so she ended up mending him. She found out she's got a half-sister, and she's got multiple siblings, but her half-sister, her name is Ayla, and she started picking fights with Serena, and so she basically threw Serena through the sand, and Serena got pissed off, so she stood up and she used her rendering and took out like 8 different people. She attacked Ayla's group, and you're not supposed to use rendering unless you're in the rendering ring. So she broke the rules, and so the prince had to break her finger because she broke the rules. But when he broke her finger, he said, "You won't feel this." And he broke her finger, and she didn't feel any pain. After he broke her finger, he said, "I also want you to be my champion." Wolves are having a tournament, basically where they fight each other, and whoever wins. I don't know what the prize is. For each higher up can choose a champion that's in the school, and they get to train that champion until the tournament is getting ready to come up, and then they go and they do the fight, and whoever wins wins. And she was like, why do you want me to be your champion? And he was like, you've only done rendering twice, and the amount of control from the first time to the second time, you shouldn't have been able to do that. Like, that takes a lot of control. Like, I think you have some potential. He ended up telling her that he actually wasn't even going to choose a champion until he saw her defending herself. She can hear his voice in her mind. That's also another thing. So I think they're bonded of some sort, or I don't know. I don't know if it's one of his powers that he's using to talk to her in her mind, because they have telepathy as a power. He has taken her to the western realm of the land that the elves live on, and now he is going to kind of see what kind of powers that she can do and what she can do with the powers that she has. The prince is trying to show her other ways to use rendering. So he got 2 rabbits, and this sounds really bad, but he basically killed 1 rabbit, and he was like, okay, now you have to do the other one. And she's like, absolutely not. So he grabbed her and basically said, you're going to learn how to defend yourself with your powers. Refusal is not an option for you, princess. I think he's got feelings. I am 58% of the way through. I'm on page 240. The prince just admitted that he felt a pull to Serena a month ago, which was when she was still at the human realm. She found out about the elves, and that if the elves wear gold, that they are unable to have access to their powers. So she ended up getting really angry and went to the ocean right outside her house and threw all of her gold jewelry into the ocean. Supposedly the prince, when she untethered herself by taking all the gold off of her, he felt her presence. So he came and he watched her off the cliff. He says, this is the quote that he said. He said, "We're intertwined," he said, his fingers warm, unfolding against her. "I felt your presence appear in my mind the night I portaled here. I'm assuming it was because you were untethered for the first time." Serena inhaled a serrated breath as he gently trailed his hand up her arm, sending comets of magic shooting under her skin. "I know you feel it too," he whispered in a voice as soft as dreams. "This power when we touch." Serena got pissed off at Fesserin, and she said, I didn't get a choice whether I was supposed to fight in this war or if I wanted to stay in the human realm. Like, I wasn't given a choice. You have all of the choices. Like, you don't have to live with the realm's will. Basically, the laws. He can go and do as he pleases because he's the prince. so he took her back to the human realm and he was like, okay, well, go. If you want to go back, go. And so she is trying to decide if she wants to stay or go. But I don't know how they're going to react when they get back to school, and how their interactions will be, because in the beginning it was like they couldn't stand each other. They were aggravated at each other. He would pick at her and call her names and all of this other stuff and be like, oh, princess, like just mocking her. Alright, so right now I am 68% of the way through the book. I am on chapter 30 now, and I'm on page 282. And so far, since I last updated you guys, Vestrin and Serena were out and about doing different things, and he was testing out her powers. And he ended up taking her to she met a big lizard that had a huge beak, like an eagle-like face with wings. And she fed it, and it's supposedly Vestrin's pet, almost. Like, he rides her, or him. His name is Neuro, but he rides him to go fight the Wrath when he goes hunting. And then he took her to basically a stable that they have a bunch of these creatures, and I can't remember what they're called, but they have a bunch of these creatures, and they have a bunch of riders that also go with Vestrin for the hunts. And he is kind of opening up more about his brother that has passed away from the Wrath. He's kind of opening up about it, and Jason, which is his cousin, told Serena that he does not talk about his brother, and that he's never opened up about his brother. So she's kind of like taking this as like, oh, he's like trying to open up a little bit. We are learning more about his brother. We're learning about the bond, and he has told her about the bond, and he keeps saying like, oh, we both have to, once your powers are fully emerged, then you can reject the bond. And I don't think he wants to reject it. I think he wants her to make the decision of whether they're going to accept it or reject it. They can talk to each other in each other's minds. Like, she can send, basically it's like I'm thinking of like text messages. Like, she can think of something and send it his way through a string, basically, is what they explain it. Is that what connects them? And this bond was created because it was just created. They said that back in the day that usually their kind, the elves, would bond each other. They don't practice it now as often, and so they just pop up out of nowhere, and you can decide whether or not you want to accept the bond or not. So that's where we're at right now. Also, Serena and Jason just got in a huge argument, which I am very sad about, because he was kind of like her go-to when she had questions or when she needed something. So, and he's getting ready to go fulfill a contract right now in this chapter, so I'm very weary about this chapter. Alright, good morning. It is freezing. It is currently like 19 degrees outside, so I am bundled up. But before I walked into work, I've been sitting reading, and I am 76% of the way through the book. And what has happened so far is Serena and the prince, Vestrin, he took her to show her how to basically move things with her mind. I forget what they call it. I can't think of it right now, but so he was trying to get her to bring that power out, and to bring that power out, you have to have desire to do it. So with their bond, he can send emotions to her and she can send emotions to him as well. So he sent her a emotion of desire, and so they started having a moment, and he broke it up and started cracking up laughing at her because she got caught up in the moment. And so now she's like super pissed off at him. And she also found out that her dad had made a deal with Jason, or tried to make a deal with Jason, that if he got Serena pregnant, that he could be released permanently from all of his contracts, which I think he's lying about that, if that ever happens in the book. I don't know if it does, but if it does, I think that he's lying. And we got a perspective of Jason, and he is at Serena's grandmother's house. And I think Serena's grandmother is not as bad as she looks, or as they're making her out to seem, because Jason woke up in a room by himself, and the room next door, it was like an office, and it had a bunch of information about a bunch of different half-breeds, is what was on the page. Elven-blooded people that he knows that are like family trees, and they're watching their offspring, like all of these different half human, half elf offsprings, and like they're keeping track of them on like a family map, and there's one with Serena on it. So I think the grandmother is trying to hint at that Alisher, which is the dad or the general of the king, is behind all of this, and he is the one that is making it 10 times worse. Serena's dad, Alisher, however you say his name, mentioned that Ayla has a considerable match, or a good match, or whatever he made for her. So I wonder if she's going to be marrying the prince. That's what I think is going to happen. Okay, I'm back. While they're having this argument, I'm going to read this to you. So she's walking away from Vesserin, and she's like, I'm done being embarrassed for the night. Like, I'm ready to go to bed. And he sent through her mind, I like your human emotions. And she dropped all of the stuff that she had in her hands. And as she's retrieving them, she's like, did I really hear that? Like, did I really like think that? Or is like that just in my head? So she sent back through the link, she said, why? And he said, it's like seeing a kaleidoscope of colors when I've been living in black and white. Letting the human side of you feel is nothing to be ashamed of. I'm sorry I used that against you. So I am 79% of the way through the book, and Vesserin and Serena got in a big argument. And she was like, why are you standing back and letting the elves do to Jason what they're doing, and you're standing and not helping him? And why is my dad, like, maybe I should just have an offspring with Jason so he can get out of his contracts permanently, blah, 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 blah. So she ended up pissing him off, and he ended up losing control of his powers, and she shielded herself, which is the first time she's ever done that. His power dissipated. He was like, I just want to talk. And he took her through a portal, and they're sitting in the grass off of campus. He said, I won't stand by while Alisher manipulates you. He said, words sharp. He can't do anything to release Jason from his contracts. That would require unanimous support from the council. The prince scuffed and shook his head. That will never happen. I told you he was lying. I told you he was lying. He was just bullshitting. Okay, they're having a really cute moment right now. I'm going to read the quote. And he's talking about he had a bond with his brother, and when his brother died, he lost that bond. So he's like explaining that he's been feeling empty, and he's let the grief take over, and that he's just been taking it out on everybody else, so he's not the only one suffering. And so they're hugging, and he said, "I would never harm you." He stroked her hair. "I'm sorry I frightened you, snapping you into another ability I didn't mean to." We're at Leaker's or Liker's point of view, however you say his name. I can't find anywhere that says like a pronunciation of his name. So I'm probably saying it wrong, so forgive me. Anyways, we've been learning a little bit about him, and he's part of the Wrath, but he also has essence, and I didn't think the Wrath had essence, so I don't know why he has essence and the other Wrath does not. And he also has another person in his mind that can take over his body. I don't know how that happened. I don't know why that happened, but Leaker was in a prison years prior when the elves did capture the Wrath, when they were having a war back in the day. So, you know how I said how Leaker, Liker, however you say his name, has another subconscious in his mind? Well, guess who that subconscious is? It's Vesseren's brother. What? What? What is going on? I am like so like how did that happen? Like, I thought he died with the Wrath. I thought the Wrath killed him. But how is he in Leaker's mind? I don't get it. I don't understand. Hopefully they'll go more into depth about that. Leaker Wrath exploded. Seizing Cal's throat, Leaker drove him to the brink of the roof. As if summoned, Acer stirred in the back of Leaker's mind. It's stardust, and basically they have to inhale it, and it can mess with them regaining their essence and being able to actually use their powers. And it like makes you forget things, and it makes you feel high, blah blah blah, whatever. And Jason has started taking part in the stardust, and I feel so bad because he's not doing it because he wants to. He's doing it because he feels like he has to basically not be able to remember the stuff that he goes through when he goes back to the mainland with the elves when he gets called back for his contracts. And he's like already like, I'm just thinking about my stash that I have at home before I can go to sleep. I'll be able to use some. Like, no, like, don't do that. The prince said this to Serena, which, thank goodness, they were talking about the bond, and she was trying to kind of have a feel for what he was feeling to see if he actually was interested in her. Um, because we did find out that he has an arranged marriage with Ayla, so she found that out. And so she was trying to gauge what his feelings were towards her after he was all healed and everything else. Um, and he said to her, "Whatever this is, the muscle in his jaw strained. It's more than a bond to me." They are in war, basically. The Wrath has come and is attacking the the beginning is very confusing because you're just learning about the world, but as you go on, it gets better. So, these are some things that happened in the last 30% of the book that I read. That Cal and Liqueur were elves back in the day, um, and they were in the dungeon in the kingdom with the king, and he was doing experiments on them, and that's why Liqueur has Acer's conscious in his brain. So that's why that happened. They still haven't really gone into much detail, but so they are elves, so that's why they have essence. So that's why they have powers. And the king also tried to steal their magic from them. Liqueur is coerced by the king to kill his son. So that's great. But when Liqueur saw Vesserin fighting the Wrath, Acer ended up beating Liqueur's conscience and took over his body, and basically was like, no, you're not killing my brother. Like, no, I will not let you. If he takes control, he will kill my brother. I know it. We got an Acer point of view, which I was very, very happy about. So, and he told us in his point of view, Liqueur and himself, to protect his brother, because of the coercion, and Liqueur always was like, nope, not happening. Like, you're not taking my life. So he ended up, when Acer had control of Liqueur's body, he ended up jumping off of the roof after he told Cal to get the Wrath out of there. And he basically was jumping off the roof to land on the ground, without saving himself. And Jason slept through the entire assault of the Wrath because he was in an induced coma, basically, with the Stardust. And Vesserin woke him up from his sleep and was like, Serena needs your help. Like, you need to get up. In all of this, he gets down on the ground and he sinks his fingers in the ground, and roots come up from the earth and save Liqueur, basically. They're not supposed to be able to do that. How did he do that? He's not supposed to. Their powers are not supposed to be fire, water, air, and earth. He came face to face with Liqueur after he saved him, and he noticed that he looks exactly like an elf, that he has very common similarities to an elf, and that Liqueur also has abilities. He's got essence. So, but Jason still thinks that it's his hallucination, so he hasn't told anybody. He found the corrosion in his brain. So he also knows that he's coerced, but he doesn't know why he's coerced. Also, Jason's mentor is coerced by the king, but the king can only coerce people. Nobody else has the ability to do that. So the king is up to something. I think teacher or mentor Serena goes and she's looking for Jason because she's worried about him, and she's also worried about her friend um, Valina, Valia, and Valia is a girl that stayed with her in the human realm while she was in the human realm, so they're very close, and she found her face down on the ground outside of where they were fighting, and she was barely holding on, and Serena was tapped out of magic. I definitely enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and if you guys want to see me read the second book of the series,